Hello and welcome to the show. This is We Don't Know What to Watch, and here are your hosts, me and Kyle.
Who's me?
I'm me. Who are you?
I'm Kyle.
Hi, Kyle.
Nice to meet you, me.
Nice to meet you too.
Well, this is a show where what do we do here? We don't know what to watch.
Well, in that case, we go to the website realgood.com, and using that website, we use a function called Movie Roulette, which is where you push a button and it picks a random movie on any of your streaming services that you have available.
All right. Well, before we get started on what movie we're watching today, we'll keep them all in suspense. Even though it'll probably be in the title of the episode.
Maybe.
But first, let's go. Have you watched anything recently?
Not really, just some TV, but nothing really that interesting.
What's not interesting?
The first season of The Simpsons.
That is really bad animation, but it's a great show. I watch a lot of movies, so besides just the random movies that we pick up here, the other day I watched Cinderella because I have two young daughters. And this is not the classic Disney version. This is the 1997 made for TV Wonderful World of Disney movie Cinderella, starring Brandy as Cinderella. And I don't want to badmouth it too much because my daughter really loves it, and the cast is fantastic, but the acting was not that great in this movie.
Yeah, but it's got George Costanza in it.
It does, and what's funny is we've got he's like the butler type at the palace, but then we have Victor Garber and Whoopi Goldberg are the king and queen, and the prince is played by Paolo Montalban. No relation to Ricardo.
No relation to Ricardo.
No relation to Ricardo. To Con. So anyway, it's basically you know the story. It's Rogers and Hammersteins. Rogers and Hammerstein.
Yeah, it's me, Hammerstein.
Hammerstein. It's Roger and Hammerstein. I can't say Hammerstein.
Well, you just said it now, so that has to count.
So we're just gonna go with that. It's their musical version of Cinderella, and they brought it to the Wonderful World of Disney. And I think I saw somewhere that they were rebooting the Wonderful World of Disney show. What was it on ABC?
Mm-hmm.
Which we should know that working at an ABC station.
Yeah, but that's another story.
That is another story. But we've got Bernadette Peters as the stepmother, which she's always great. And then the fairy godmother is played by none other than the great Whitney Houston. So it's quite the interesting cast.
Yeah, that's a good cast. On paper, this movie should work.
On paper. But it's harmless, it's fun, it's just a musical, it's a Cinderella musical, and the acting's not that great, but the characters that you expect to be good are good. Whoopi Goldberg's just fun, and Jason Alexander is a bumbling servant of the castle. It's definitely a children's movie. So
does it come with the commercials from 1997?
Unfortunately, no. That would be quite fun.
That would be interesting, at least the first 5 times.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a fun one if you're gonna watch it if you've got young kids. I've got an 8-year-old daughter and a 6-year-old daughter, and my 6-year-old will sing the songs, and she loves singing along to that movie. So.
And I have a dog.
Your dog might howl along to the
maybe
movie.
I don't know. He's more of an art film kind of guy.
Another movie that I've seen recently is Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman.
I have also seen that movie.
What did you think?
I thought it was really interesting. I liked Angela Robinson's overall direction. Of course, Luke Evans is always great, but wonderful cast, great costumes, and I think it was very interesting and informative, but definitely not for your 6-year-old and your 8-year-old.
No, definitely not. I was kind of shocked at some of the stuff. I knew that, like, just from the trailers, I don't really know the backstory of what is his name? William Moulton Marston, right? Or Charles Moulton, as he went by as a pseudonym. But I did not know until I saw the previews that he had a wife, and then they had another. I don't know if you called a mistress, if she's getting together with the wife as well.
I believe they were in a polyamorous relationship. as the kids say these days.
But yeah, what they go into with that, it gets pretty into the relationship, and I thought it was quite interesting also, but also the psychology of Marston was. What did you think of his theories on, like, his disc theory was?
It's something I heard about in school, but I was not too familiar with it. But it was really cool to see it play out and how it kind of makes you want to go back and read some of the really old Wonder Woman to see where that stuff would kind of play out.
Because he believed in like dominance and what was it, dominance, and then I was
Induction,
induction.
submission, and C is for cookie.
As we all know from Sesame Street. So I don't really think that's what it was for, but I can't come up with the last one. All I know is that his theories seemed really backwards to me, and that he dealt with a lot of bondage and submission, and I thought it was weird that he seemed really for women's empowering women, but then at the same hand, he also talked about how they needed to create a perfect society, we all need to learn how to submit to a loving authority, and I thought that was really strange.
Well, I think he doesn't necessarily mean submit in like the sexual BDSM sort of way. I think he just means like agree with or be willing to work with. Not necessarily like the sort of the sexual connotation, but just seduction as in convincing someone to see your point of view.
Yeah,
That's what I got out of it.
and I kind of understand that, but then to display that in a bondage sense just kind of gives a conflicting message. It kind of, I don't know, I understood kind of what he meant, but then the way he depicted it seemed almost backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the movie on a whole was, like you said, well acted, well directed. The cast is great. Rebecca Hall. I don't know who the mistress or the third girl or the
The
second
Bella
girl.
Heathcote's character, yes.
Yeah, Bella Heathcote. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with her, but she did fine in the movie. And like you said, Luke Evans is always great. I like him as Gaston in the
Mm-hmm.
New Beauty and the Beast. And I'm one. I don't know if I should admit this, but I had fun with Dracula Untold.
I didn't see it.
So I thought it was an interesting story, and I thought he was great in it. Yeah, there was some missteps in it, but overall, I thought it was an okay movie. It might have been better than The Mummy with Tom Cruise, which was supposed to be the same universe.
Yeah. We'll forget about the Dark Universe for now. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, maybe if they ever course corrected that, maybe they should just throw that in the garbage though, and we'll just watch the old Universal monster movies because they're so much better.
Would you recommend Professor Marston and the Wonder Woman?
I would definitely recommend it if you're interested in the history of Wonder Woman, especially. Other than that, it's such a niche little biopic that it's worth a look just in general because it's a well-made movie, but definitely if you're interested in Wonder Woman and the history of that.
Okay. Moving on, now we're on to our main event. And Kyle, what movie will we be watching today, or have we seen for this episode?
Well, we spun that wheel, we rolled that dice, and we came up with Ginger in the Morning.
From 1974. But that's even a little confusing to me because if you notice in the actual movie, the copyright is 1972. But from any information we can find about this, which is not a lot, it says 1974.
I missed that, but it could have been one of those that, like, maybe was filmed and put on the shelf, didn't get distributed or something. But like you said, it was hard to find any information on the making of this movie or anything, which is interesting because who's the big star of this movie?
And this is actually starring a very young Sissy Spacek, so this is a pre-Carrie Sissy Spacek.
And interesting note is that she actually wrote and performed all of the songs in this movie.
So all those goofy acoustic songs you may hear, those are by Sissy Spacek herself, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, and you think that maybe that could have been a precursor to her landing the coal miner's daughter just a few years later.
That's very possible.
I mean, we do get one song about her singing about how maraschino cherries are drugged, and that's why she's addicted to them because the
And then
government
they'll
wants
lead,
them.
and then they'll lead to pot and other drugs and stuff. So
So, what is this movie about? We've got
Well, before we get into that, let's just talk about. We saw this. This is available on Amazon Prime for you Amazon Prime subscribers there. But also, can we just what was the quality of the picture? Just how did the film look itself? Was it in HD, Kyle? Was it just was it 70 millimeter? Was it one of the just a wonderful transfer, or what did it look like to you, Kyle?
It looked like a straight to TV movie from the 1970s, which is probably what it was.
Recorded off, and someone used the 1970s era VCR, or maybe even early 80s VCR, recorded it off the TV, and then uploaded it to YouTube.
Yeah, because there were actually some bad cuts in here, and I'm not sure if that was the director or if that was just the transfer. Maybe some of the cuts didn't make it, or some stuff got ruined on the film, and they had to just kind of jump cut. But I don't think that was entirely the fault of the director. I think it might be just the transfer and the quality of the film because this is not one that they really took the time to restore. But on to what this movie was about. This is about how if you want to find love, you don't go to the internet. You look for someone on the side of the road.
True. And then you pick up Sissy Spacek, the hitchhiker. Her character's name is Ginger Brown. And then you just got to be a nice older man, probably I'm gonna say mid 40s, named Joe. And Joe is just feeling really sad because at the very beginning of the movie, we see Joe talking to his friend as they're getting off the airport, I believe somewhere in the Southwest.
Was that Charlie at the beginning of the movie?
I think it was some other guy because he was credited, I think it was like Steve or something.
Because I saw the beginning where he's getting off the plane and he's talking to a man about his divorce, and the man says that he needs to go out and just get laid as much as he can now that he's divorced. And I
And
thought,
because it's the 70s.
and because it's the 70s, and I thought it was funny because this guy was being really vulgar, and then he would stop to do catcalls to women in the airport, and I thought it was just like one of those vulgar friends, and we're gonna see him throughout the movie, but then he's like, "Oh, well, it was nice to meet you on the plane. I've got to go now."
I think, yeah, well, because, well, this guy at the beginning had glasses, and Charlie does not have glasses. So I think that's a little bit different.
Yeah, so this was just a random stranger
Well, I'm going to call
meeting
him Steve.
meeting Joe on the plane and telling him he needs to get laid because of his divorce. So
I mean, he's been divorced 3 months, but then Steve says that's enough. You can even try a computer dating service because they had those apparently back then.
yeah, he did mention that, which I thought was kind of funny. That must have been like the dawn of the computer dating service because I mean you didn't have home computers, so it would have been one of those you probably
Like a
called
giant lab computer sending you information through the mail, and they'll send you like a list of matches or something.
and they'll put it into the HAL 9000 with the HAL 9000.
Yes. And then HAL 9000 will try and kill people or something.
I'm glad I got that right, otherwise all the Kubrick fanboys would have mauled me.
They're after you. They'll get you. They'll eyes wide shut all over you.
So we have him leaving the airport, and he's driving down the road. And the very first scene is actually Sissy Spacek getting out of a truck, and some old man going, "Oh, I hate to see you out here all by your lonesome on the road, but I'll drop you off on this random corner in the middle of nowhere anyway." So Joe leaves the airport, and he drives by Sissy Spacek, and she was pretty good looking in her younger years, and he sees her and turns around real quick to try and go get her and blows a tire.
What are you gonna do? Everything that this poor guy does, he just wants to find a lovely lady, and he blows a tire. And also, let's talk about first of what Sissy Spacek is wearing. This movie is supposed to take place like kind of in the winter because they always talk about Christmas and then New Year's, but they're also in the middle of the desert, and Sissy Spacek is wearing sort of these long kind of bell-bottom jeans, probably like a cotton shirt, and then like this very interesting kind of furry-looking coat.
I didn't even think about the fact that she was wearing that big coat because, yeah, they're in Santa Fe. I mean, they're just outside of Santa Fe because we'll get to that, why they're going to stop in Santa Fe. But, yeah, that would be quite the heat stroke
I
there
just
out in the
yeah, I
desert.
mean, that's why I'm glad she got picked up so soon. Otherwise, I mean, she just could have been died. She just could have died,
It would have been great for those cold winter nights in the desert.
but
So
not in broad daylight.
so we get her and she stops by to help him out. Well, actually, just talk to him while he fixes the tire, and then they hit it off because they're young
Because
and
otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie.
then we wouldn't have a movie. And we find out like she's this free loving hippie, but she's not like a violent kind because she's leaving her violent boyfriend behind, and he's
He was like a
divorced.
mechanic or something.
And what do? They go to a restaurant.
And they sit down. And they say, and the waitress asks Joe, "Would you like another cup of coffee?" And he says, and then Sissy's like, "No, no way," says Ginger. And why is that?
Oh, coffee gives you wrinkles, guys.
Coffee
Seriously.
gives you wrinkles.
Yes.
I actually
Yes.
did look it up, and because it does dehydrate your skin, so that's technically correct. So moisturize.
Well, and you're going to get a lot of great tidbits like that, and also that maraschino cherries are drugged by the government.
Mm-hmm.
So so they go to dinner and he orders an Irish coffee for her. And so basically she's never had it before and she takes a drink and is like, "Whoa, what's this? This isn't
Does
just
this
like
have
coffee."
alcohol in it?
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to get you drunk so I can, take you somewhere.
And then she's like, okay, cool. So then they have their Irish coffees, and a lovely time is had by all.
Yeah, and they talk about their exes and how they need to get rid of them. They've got pictures and so they're going to burn them in a ritual in a fireplace somewhere.
So then after that, they get back on the road and they go looking for they need a place to stay
They stop at a motel.
with kind of a I'm gonna call him sideburns guy because he had some nice sideburns from what you saw of him. So then they talk to sideburns guy. Hey, you need a room? It's like, oh yeah, it's for me and my friend here. It's like, okay.
His sister.
Oh, his sister, but they want 2 rooms adjoining.
So of course we got the old, oh, it's my sister, and the guy at the motel is, oh, well, we've only got one room left, so maybe you and your sister should share a room. It'll be fine. There's 2 twin beds.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? Know what I mean?
And then Joe, who's, liquoring her up, then gets cold feet about going to the motel. But it gets worse than that, though, because he doesn't go through with that. But then he says, "Oh, you know what? I remembered. My friend has a key someplace for me for a plate that I could stay at his place in Santa Fe."
Yeah, so they decide to go to Santa Fe, but first, before they do that, they decide to make a random reference to It Happened One Night with Clark Gable and Claudette Colbert, which I think really breaks one of the cardinal rules of movies is that you should never talk about a movie that's better than yours in your own movie.
That's true. Side note, if you have not seen It Happen One Night, you need to go see that movie.
It's a good movie.
So they go to this friend's house, and then she's a hippie, and it's the '70s, and so they're all talking. "I dig you, man."
Yeah,
And,
you're
and then
pretty far out.
and you want to stay overnight, and they're all like, "Cool, yeah." And I'm gonna. Well, and then Ginger says, "Well, I make a mean breakfast."
But I gotta go get groceries.
And she needs some bread for the groceries.
Yeah,
Which
you
was
need
funny
bread.
because Joe did not know what she was talking about because he was confused.
What do you need bread for? I thought bread was part of groceries.
So just another, gotta my
Ha
bread.
ha.
Oh, bread.
It's funny because hippies talk weird and stuff.
Yeah, and bread for grocery. You need bread for
Yuck,
bread.
yuck, 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 yuck.
They're
I bet the
so clever.
screenwriter spent a lot of time on that one.
That might have been their best joke.
They should have just stopped right there.
So she goes out and who shows up? We call him Uncle Charlie.
We'll just call him Uncle Charlie. He's his bestest friend in the whole world. Joe's awesomest bestest friend, Charlie, who comes in. It's like, oh, I just came down from Mexico, and then also he brings the cab driver in with him.
But yeah, he brings in this very stereotypical Mexican cab driver. "Oh, senor, hey."
I like the cab driver. I think
he was actually quite funny.
I think he should have gotten his own movie.
Yeah.
I just want to imagine Charlie and the cab driver going around, driving around, doing stuff, going to bars,
driving around the country, visiting different areas. That'd be a good sitcom. So Charlie shows up, and then he's drunk because Uncle Charlie's a drunk, and he comes in,
And
and
then Joe's like, "Hey, Charlie, what are you doing here, man? You gotta leave. You gotta leave. Why'd you have to come here tonight?" He's like, "Oh, what's going on? That's your old bestest pal. It's your old bestest pal in the world, Charlie. Why can't you just stay with Charlie? What, do you got like some woman here or something?
oh, you got a woman here.
Oh, you got one of those real hot numbers, I say."
Oh yeah, yeah, Charlie, yeah, and she's coming, and she's coming back real quick. Oh man, she's an easy one. I got this. It's in the bag.
Like, where'd you get her? Did she get you one of those computer dating services? No, I don't think they brought that up again, but I kind of wish they did.
No, I picked her up on the side of the road.
And then, as they talk about things like how women are objects and stuff like that, then who comes in? But we see Ginger has heard enough of the conversation, and now she's not very happy about it.
But Uncle Charlie's a schmoozer, and you know he sends the Mexican cab driver off with his bottle of champagne and convinces Ginger to stay somehow, even though she just heard them conversing about how she is so easy. And
Also, during that whole real hot number that you like type of thing, the cab driver was just kind of there,
he was just sitting off the side enjoying
just
the
doing his
conversation
thing,
and drinking some champagne. Or
as you
whatever.
do.
And so you got all that, and Uncle Charlie and Joe talking about how yeah she's gonna be easy and I'll get her into bed and all this stuff, and she says I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna go out with the cab driver and take off out of here. And Charlie talks her into staying. And I'm kind of thinking, you're a young woman, and these are two late 30 to early 40s.
Well, I actually looked this up. So I did this, and at the time of filming, or at the time it was released in 1974, Sissy Spacek was 25, and then Monty Markham, the guy who plays Joe, he was 39.
So yeah, quite an age gap there, 14-year age gap. So these two guys, 15 years older than you, you're in your mid 20s, and they go, "Oh no, stay at our house. It'll be fine."
Doesn't sound creepy at all.
Yeah.
But
So
it's the 70s, and she's a hippie, so I guess she decides to do it. Well, she was gonna leave, but then Joe, being the smart guy that he is, he gives the cab driver his money, and then he just tells the cab driver to leave. So then the cab driver leaves, and we never see Salvador, your friendly local cab driver, again for the rest of the film, which I think is probably the biggest tragedy of many tragedies that occur in this film.
well, but we do get Uncle Charlie for the rest.
We do get to hang out with Uncle Charlie for the rest of the film, and after Ginger goes to bed, Uncle Charlie talks to the Christmas tree.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
Yeah, and one of my favorite scenes, like, what kind of thing is this? This isn't a Christmas tree, blah blah blah.
Because the Christmas tree's dead. He got it in November.
It's a Charlie Brown Christmas tree. If you've ever seen a Charlie Brown Christmas, it's that Christmas tree. And then Charlie says, this isn't a Christmas tree. It's an incendiary bomb."
And it was quite flammable. It looked
But
very dry.
I just really like that line.
It's definitely a flammable incendiary bomb. It's an accident waiting to happen. Well, that's okay because they take out the tree in a big scuffle in the living room.
That's true. That's true because they get mad for whatever reason. Because like, hey, if you're not gonna do anything with Ginger, I'll take care of her real nice, right? Because now drunk Uncle Charlie is gonna be creepy Uncle Charlie in addition to being drunk Uncle Charlie.
And then is this the point where the Charlie's ex now shows up?
Oh yeah, because Charlie's ex Sugar calls Joe because she had just come in from the airport. She's about to come into Santa Fe to say hi to him. Said, "Oh, you gotta come over." Like, "Oh, guess what? I found Charlie." So then, of course, now think it even weirder. When Charlie's ex-wife Sugar comes to see the three of them, so now it's Joe and Ginger and Charlie and Sugar.
Yeah, because Joe's mad, so he's like, "Yeah, sure, come on over." And she shows up, and then Ginger's talking to Charlie at some point and tells him that she's pregnant because you can trust drunk Uncle Charlie with a secret.
Oh yeah, everyone loves drunk Uncle Charlie. At least I thought he was kind of fun.
So we got Joe who's clueless, and Ginger we find out is pregnant, and Charlie who's drunk and his ex, and they all go on a double date for New Year's Eve.
Because what else are you gonna do? Also, I do want to point out that at one point Joe is trying to get Charlie to leave, and Charlie starts begging him, "Oh, come on, you wouldn't want your bestest friend. I'm so lonely. All I have down there is just some old Mexican, because he's the Mud King apparently. He calls himself the Mud King,
Yes,
and
he
he
has
was down
oil
in
fields, right?
yes, and he was down in Mexico. It's like all I had down there was some old cowboys and dogs and my beer or whatever. I just didn't. I'm so lonely. I didn't want to stay down there all by myself for New Year's Eve.
So so they all go out because an awkward New Year's dinner is better than no New Year's dinner, right?
And also, there's a mariachi band.
Well, yeah, and who knows? Maybe the cab driver was at the party too.
I assume Salvador was there in some way.
But this was indicator that this was a '70s movie because Ginger had no problem. Now we found out she's pregnant, and she had no problem just drinking.
But she still has some champagne. Yeah, that's true. I forgot.
So this was the '70s. So we all should have ended up with
Fetal
fetal
alcohol.
alcohol syndrome. Luckily, some of us didn't. We're still testing me out. I don't know. So they get all crazy
And this whole time, Sugar and Charlie are just taking insults at each other. They just keep one-upping each other.
and that's pretty great.
It's kind of amazing.
And then Charlie lets slip out of the bag the pregnancy.
And then Joe's like, what?
Because we need more drama because these people are complete strangers, and so why does he care that she's pregnant? Which actually he takes it really hard.
It's like, well, what about the pill? It's like, oh, I know about the pill. I didn't use it. Then why didn't you get an abortion or something? Well, I want to keep the baby.
And he seems offended that she's pregnant.
They're like, you've known this woman for what, like 48 hours at the most?
So they're all getting in a fight, and they get kicked out of the restaurant.
And then Ginger gets mad.
And takes off with
Sugar.
So then that leaves us the Uncle Charlie and Joe show.
And with the Uncle Charlie and Joe show, they do what any other person would do in this situation. They just start drinking and wandering around at night in Santa Fe.
And their antics are pretty great. And it's not long lived in the movie, but I liked watching.
Just wandering around. They go to the park. They're drinking. They're having a good time.
And then Slim Pickens shows up.
And not just as Slim Pickens. This is Sheriff Slim Pickens.
Sheriff Slim Pickens, and we got your Smokey and the Bandit type sheriff here.
Mm-hmm.
And he's fun because
it's Slim Pickens.
Because it's Slim Pickens. But the deputy comes up and wants to arrest him, and then Joe and Charlie use the old.
We're just a couple of war buddies. We haven't seen each other since we were both back in Korea. Oh, you can't let us be like this. We're just having a good time. So then, of course, they have to call in everyone's favorite local sheriff, Slim Pickens. He says, oh, it's okay. You guys are having a good time. I don't want to break up you old war veterans, but you better not let me catch you doing it again.
Deputy, let's take these guys home. These guys aren't causing too much trouble.
So they go home, and now we cut to the next morning, and you see Sugar and Ginger having breakfast together, and they're talking about what else, the importance of relationships and other such things.
Yeah, and don't Charlie and Joe go out for the ultimate hangover recipe of
huevos rancheros, which are, I mean, don't get me wrong, those eggs are pretty good.
I've never actually had huevos rancheros.
You really should. I mean, maybe next time you're watching this movie, you could try and reenact all the most important scenes, such as the huevos rancheros scenes.
Well, maybe that's why my hangovers were so bad, because I didn't get up in the morning and have hair of the dog with huevos rancheros.
Of course.
So they have, then they get the little bonding, and
it's like, oh man, maybe I really should try and fix things up with Ginger. You're right. And then, of course, now at the same time, Ginger is talking with Sugar, and then Ginger convinces Sugar that, oh, man, I really should fix things up with Charlie, who I've been divorced for, and they've been bickering all the entire time they've been with each other.
But I really do love him.
Mm-hmm. It's all just one big misunderstanding.
So after the huevos rancheros, that's really hard to say after you've said it so many times.
My favorite part about that scene is that you notice that they still have a bottle of whatever that he pours and that Charlie pours into their coffees.
Oh yeah. So they're having Irish coffees.
I mean, they are still drinking all the way. I mean, I think Charlie has a problem that he needs to get addressed. Get that guy to a meeting.
Yeah, if he's gonna get back with Sugar, I don't think it's gonna last long unless she gets him into AA. But they go back. Well, actually, before they go back, we have to go. Hey, Charlie, let's go up to the mountains and get some fresh air
Yeah,
and have a snowball fight with a bunch of kids.
because reasons.
So yeah, they just need to go up for fresh air, and which actually we looked up some trivia on this movie,
And there was one piece of trivia,
and what was that?
and it was that the continuity doesn't make sense because there's only snow in the snowball fight scene, and that before and after that there is no snow.
And I'm just gonna have to say that person who wrote that did not watch this movie because they said we're going up into the mountains where there's snow. So that is not a continuity error. But
That's
anyway,
just a different location.
so they have a snowball fight with a bunch of kids because they're just working off hangovers, and then they're
Who would
still a little loopy.
But then who would show up, Kyle? Tell me who shows up.
Well, Slim Pickens comes
Sheriff
back.
Slim Pickens comes back.
Oh, these boys are up to trouble again.
What in darnation are you boys doing? I think he says that. He might as well have said that.
He might as well have said that. So he comes up and finds them because, well, now Slim Pickens is just all over these guys.
Ah, you two again?
Oh, I'm sorry, officer. We're done.
We've been robbed.
Oh yeah, the kids robbed us. I swear, they mugged us.
This scene does basically happen in the movie.
Yes, it does. We're not making this up. So after this random snowball fight, I think it was just another reason to get Slim Pickens on screen, really. They go back to the house, and
Then Ginger is gone, but Sugar is still there.
Sugar's still there, and she says, "Oh, Charlie, I've always loved you."
Oh, Sugar, I've always loved you too. So they decide that they're gonna make things up and they're gonna try again. But wait a minute, what happened to Ginger? Where did Ginger go, Kyle?
Ginger's on the bus.
She's on the bus?
She's on the bus out of here.
Bus where? Bus to Colorado?
Yes, the bus to Colorado.
She wants some of that
going to
weed.
see her father, right?
Yes, or a friend or a relation or something.
Yeah, and so we've got the chase down the bus scene, which is great.
Of course, because now, like any traditional rom-com, he's got, wait, I love her.
I love her. I don't care that she's.
So we gotta go down to the bus station and we gotta find her. Oh wait, the last bus already left. And then you never guess who shows up again. Slim Pickens. Because his car is like parked in the middle of the street and now the bus can't leave.
Sir, is this your car? Oh my God, it's him again.
I gotta find this woman. She's a really sweet girl. I think I love her. It's like, okay, wait, can you take me out and help stop the bus that's on the way out? Well, I'm not sure. What about your car? So naturally, here's what happens, is that Slim Pickens agrees to take Joe out to find the bus as it was leaving to go to Colorado. And I guess his car just gets towed back to the police station.
I guess we're just gonna assume that. We'll assume
I think
that
there
he
was a
always
line in there somewhere.
Well, Joe's an old war vet, so Slim Pickens probably had it towed back for free.
Mm-hmm. Because Sheriff Slim Pickens is such a nice guy.
So he chases down the bus, and then we get the scene where, since they're in the cop car, obviously they get to pull over the bus, and he runs on and declares his love, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm leaving.
I don't like you." It's like, wait, don't leave, Ginger, because if you leave, I'll never get to hear one of your poems. Because she writes her own poems.
We didn't tell them that. She said
she sings her own song.
My poems. You didn't even ask about my poem.
So now that we cut forward again to the big bus scene, it's like, I gotta read one of your poems. I'll do anything to stay with you, Ginger. I'll even marry you and take care of the baby or whatever.
So then they have to stop the bus for some reason because they're all the bus driver's getting mad at them. And so he's swerving all over the road, and he's like,
But hey, sit down, don't talk to her. The best part is that when the bus is leaving, Joe decides he's going to stay on and talk to her, so he gives $5 to the bus driver, and the bus goes on. And then, unfortunately, Slim Pickens has to go, and we never see him for the rest of the film.
But fortunately, the rest of the film is only 2 more minutes. And they all get off the bus because the bus driver's like, everybody off, and they all get off, and we get the scene where everybody gets back on, and he's like, oh no, you can't get on.
I got my $5 worth.
Yeah.
And then he's just resigned to say,
oh, that's right, he decided to stay off, didn't he?
Yes.
And he's all sad, and so you'll never guess what happens.
So in classic film fashion, the bus pulls away, and who's on the other side of the road? But oh my gosh, it's Ginger Brown. She decided to stay with Joe, a guy who she's known for I think 72 hours at this point.
And we're assuming happily ever after. I don't know with Joe and Ginger and this random dude's baby.
Random guy's baby.
So, what did you think of this movie overall?
I thought it was okay. I mean, the ending was kind of nice where they both end up where they're both trying to hitchhike a ride back to town. These two people with a significant age gap as well as a guitar case.
Yeah, uh, you know, it's an interesting movie to watch if you're a fan of Sissy Spacek. I thought she was actually great in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
She did a wonderful job. Sure, the quality's not that great. It's not well directed. It seems really straight to video. But if you're a completionist and you like and you're a fan of Sissy Spacek, I would actually
It's
recommend you go and at least check this out.
because it's a very different role from a lot of her other stuff around the same time. I know, like when she's kind of known, at least in her early work, to playing kind of the wide-eyed teenage kid who's very naive. So when you think of something like Carrie,
Yeah.
or also in Badlands from 1973 with Martin Sheen.
And this one, she was very worldly, and she she had a lot of opinions about the world, and she like seemed like she'd traveled a bit, even though she was real young. So like she wasn't like this naive
And
young.
she had a guitar. She would sing her own songs. Talk about how maraschino cherries are bad for you and they're run by the government.
Never eating a maraschino.
Never again.
And actually, do have to say, I don't remember the actor's name. Do you remember the actor's name who played Uncle Charlie? It was
I forget.
Mark Miller.
Who I did check, he was also the screenwriter.
Oh, well, he gave himself all the best lines because Drunk Uncle Charlie is the highlight of the movie.
Truly, I think if there was a sequel to this film, it would just have to be The Further Adventures of Charlie and Sugar, a Ginger in the Morning film.
Yes, yeah. So you got Sissy Spacek and Miller, and those are great characters to watch on the screen. Pretty basic plot for the movie. I thought there was a lot of interesting dialogue about the back and forth and her hippie worldviews, and there was a lot of good discussions in there. It was decent. There was a decent script to it, if you could call it a script.
It was an okay movie. It's nothing too horrendously bad, but then it's not really anything to write home about. So I would say, out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, Sissy Spacek fans out there, I recommend. Everyone else, if you're bored.
It's out there if you're bored.
It's on Amazon Prime. I do have to say one other thing is that this is credited as Fred Ward's first movie, and it says that he is a truck driver. However, I don't know if you noticed that there were no trucks in this movie except at the very beginning when she gets out of a truck. And unless Fred Ward started his career as an elderly black man, I don't think that was him.
I mean, he is very versatile, but I think he might have been a bus driver instead of a truck driver. That's my theory. Because
I believe he was the guy packing the bags into the bus.
Yeah.
So he was bus driver.
Not truck driver. I mean, this movie is just clearly whoever did the trivia. I mean, get your act together, IMDb.
This was not even trivia. He's actually on the credits. I watched
That's
the
true.
credits.
He's
and
in the
it
credits.
said truck driver. And so, if anybody watches this movie, comment below and tell us, is that bus or the bag loader on the bus, is that Fred Ward? Because I even tried to pause it and I just wasn't sure because he has sunglasses on. He's really young. I really only know him from Tremors because why would you know him from anything else? So I'm not sure where he was at, but that's our theory.
And what a theory it is.
So we'll spin the wheel here, and
we'll see what we have to watch next time.
I think maybe we should go for an action movie.
Action adventure. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna push the button. Beep, boop, beep, bop, beep, boop, boop. This is exactly what it sounds like on my phone. Beep, boop, bop. And it looks like our movie is The Last Hitman.
Starring Joe Mantegna. That should be interesting.
All right, thank you again for listening to We Don't Know What to Watch with Kyle and me. And we'll see you next time.
Until next time, if you're looking for love, look no further than the side of the road.
Bye.